The patch notes were short, easy to miss, a routine hotfix pushed out during the off hours. When players dropped into the match, they noticed the first change immediately. There was no building, no blueprints snapping into place, no muscle memory towers climbed toward the sky, just raw movement and gunfire. The second change came seconds later. The first player jumped in, just never came down. Their avatar drifted upward like a released balloon, spinning slowly, legs kicking in panic, until the kill feed updated with a death that had no cause listed. The lobby filled with laughter and confusion. Glitches happen all the time, right? But then, gravity failed completely. The entire island tore itself loose from the rules that had held it together for years. Mountains lifted like continental plates ripped from the planet. Rivers froze mid-fall. Entire cities flipped upside down as if the world had been grabbed and shaken violently. Players screamed, not in voice chat, but in movement. Their avatars flailed, tumbling through empty space. They fired their rifles, and the recoil, now unchained, kicked them backward. Every shot became a burst of propulsion. Every explosion was a violent push that sent squads scattering like shrapnel. At first, it was chaos without fear. Players discovered they could swim through the air, that a shotgun blast could redirect their momentum, that grenades were now engines. Someone shouted that this was the best update ever as firefights spiraled across floating islands. Combatants circled each other like astronauts in a dogfight, bullets tracing glowing arcs through the void, spent shell casings drifting down like metallic snow. And then the storm appeared, not as a wall, but as a sphere, expanding in all directions, swallowing space itself. The joke stopped. Without gravity, there was no ground to retreat toward, no low place to hide, only directions that all felt horribly wrong. Squads learned quickly that movement was now survival, that stopping meant drifting helplessly. That momentum was life. The island became a graveyard of slow-motion deaths as players misjudged angles and floated into the storm, their screams echoing until the audio cut out. Somewhere in the madness, a player named Rook realized something worse. He got shot, but he didn't fall. He just spun, bleeding particles that drifted away from him, his health ticking down while his body kept moving. When he healed, he kept moving too, because nothing ever stopped anymore. Rook managed to latch onto a floating bus wreck and anchored himself with controlled recoil bursts. Watching the map like a broken god, he saw upside-down skyscrapers with players battling across their ceilings. He saw entire forests ripped out by the roots, drifting in clusters, with squads hiding among the leaves. He saw a church tumbling end over end, its bell ringing every time a grenade detonated nearby. He understood the real problem when the storm closed further, and players began using each other as anchors. They grappled enemies and fired their weapons just to change direction. They held onto corpses because mass still mattered even if gravity didn't. Someone in global chat typed, "What happens if you miss the island?" No one answered, because a player already had. A tiny figure was drifting away from everything, firing wildly, the bullets pushing them faster and faster into the dark until the map edge vanished and there was nothing left to push against. No surface, no recoil trick, just endless forward motion. The kill feed didn't update because the game didn't know how to count a fall that had no bottom. As the mass thinned out, the survivors grew quiet. Winning now meant controlling direction, not territory. Rook joined a loose squad clinging to a floating stadium that had been turned on its side. Its field was now a vertical wall where players ran using momentum boots, leaping off tackles and into firefights that spiraled upward. They shared information in short bursts, angles, velocities, safe vectors, until one of them said the thing no one wanted to say. The storm was compressing space itself. Soon, there would be no islands left to bounce between, only open void. Panic returned, sharper than before. Death by bullet was instant, but drifting meant waiting, and waiting meant knowing. The final circles became a ballet of desperation. Squads detonated their own explosives just to stay near each other. Snipers fired not to kill, but to redirect their targets. Shotguns became steering wheels. Rook saw an upside-down city collide with a mountain. The impact sending buildings spinning like dice, players scattering in every direction. In the collision, he lost his squad. His momentum carried him away. He tried everything firing downward, sideways, backward, but space didn't care about intention, only force. The storm loomed, a glowing curvature swallowing the stars. For a moment, Rook considered letting it take him. Drifting was exhausting. Every second required calculation. There was no rest. Then he saw another player drifting too, a lone silhouette tumbling slowly. Instinct kicked in. Even now, the game taught cooperation. He fired carefully, nudging himself toward them, counting his shots, adjusting his angle, until they collided gently, the bodies spinning together in the void. The other player laughed hysterically over comms, thanking him. Together, they formed a plan, using each other's mass to stabilize, firing in opposite directions to cancel their spin, anchoring themselves in the last safe pocket of space between the storm and the nothingness. The final firefight wasn't explosive, but intimate. It was close range, slow. Bullets pushed their bodies apart inches at a time. Every hit was a shove, every reload a risk, until only one of them had ammo left. Rook realized the truth too late. Winning meant leaving someone without momentum. When the other player fired their last shot to dodge the encroaching storm, Rook let go. He pushed off with a final blast from his own weapon, watching the other drift backward, arms flailing, their voice breaking as they asked why. Rook wanted to answer, but momentum had already decided. The other player floated past the storm's edge, not dying, just leaving, drifting forever into the black. The match ended seconds later with a victory scream that felt obscene. Fireworks exploded in zero gravity, confetti drifting endlessly. Rook's avatar was frozen mid-spin as the lobby timer ticked down. When he returned to the menu, the patch notes were gone, replaced by an apology about unintended physics interactions. Gravity returned in the next match. The island slammed back into place. Building returned, order was restored. But some players swore they could still see a tiny dot in the skybox, drifting, and sometimes, when Rook jumped, he felt a delay before falling, just long enough to remember that somewhere beyond the map, beyond the storm, someone was still moving. Because in a world without gravity, falling didn't mean hitting the ground, it meant never stopping. Thanks for watching.